Hello everyone, it's time for some mold making fun today. I'm going to show you how to make a silicone mold and cast one of your medallion sculptures. This is the kit I like to start with when I do small projects, especially when I need to kind of test stuff out before I start investing in a lot of product or material and wasting too much money on something that may not work. But it's a great kit, it's a great product. You can even buy the same exact product when you do that. You know, it's a good product. It just comes with absolutely everything you need, but just a little bit of it. So it comes with the trial size of the silicone and a trial size of the resin, which will probably get you can get at least 1 to 2 molds from like 1 to 2 silicone medallion molds, depending on the size of your medallion, of course. Smaller, you can get more. Larger, probably only 1. The resin, you'll probably get about maybe 10 to 20 castings tops out of your mold, the amount that they give you in here. But you can always buy more outside of this, but this also comes with the mold release, the sealant, and all that good stuff, everything you need. It even has instructions in here. It's just a great starter kit, and I really highly recommend it if it's the first time or if you just want to have a little project to test out. I get this from Dick Blick. I will post an affiliate link in the description below where you can get it. And yeah, so let's get started. So first I'm going to show you what's in this kit. Yep, packing. So first and foremost, it comes with Quickstart Instructions, so you don't even need me blabbing to you. But if you want to see how it's done, keep on watching. And let's see, and this is just a bunch of general information on how to make molds and stuff. Lots of reading, lots of stuff. So great little pamphlet there. Here we have the sealer and the mold release. I like to get these also for the mold release because I don't really want a huge big can because I don't do this that often, so I feel like the stuff goes bad before I get to use it another time. So this is a great little amount of stuff to use. And I still even have some leftover sealant from other boxes and mold release too. But it's good to have a new thing so I can get the old stuff off the shelf. And yeah, so that's good. You need that to keep your mold fresh and your castings coming out. And then it comes with 2 little, oh wait, no, you even have a little DVD here of quick instructions and stuff. I think the Smooth On website even has those videos too if you want to take a look at those. But you know, they're quick and easy instructions. If you want a little more thorough, you might want to like check on YouTube and things like that, or just watch this video. So here we go. This is the silicone, and here is the resin. It comes with 2 little trial jars in here. They both kind of look exactly the same. And there you go. There's your starter kit. So that's everything you need to get started. So this video I'm going to show you how to do the medallion. I'm going to make another video doing a 2-part mold on a little model that I sculpted. So let's get this started. Alright, so you have your sculpture here. This was made with starting in Monster Clay, and then I got some new Chivant Hard to play with, so that's the lighter color here, and I finished it off in the Chivant. It's an oil-based clay, so it never dries. You can use epoxy, that's not a big deal. The biggest thing I want to mention before we start is, before you even do your sculpture, is that you want to make sure you're using a sulfur-free clay. Sulfur will inhibit the curing of the silicone, meaning it won't cure. The silicone will just continue to stay like a blobby, gloopy mess and not cure around your sculpture and potentially ruin your sculpture and not get a mold out of it. So always make sure you're using sulfur-free. Technically, you can cast sulfur clays, but it's really risky. And you know, you got to do like a really crazy sealer layer on there to make sure nothing touches the silicone that may have sulfur on it. I still seal these anyway. I use the polyacrylic sealer, just a gloss sealer, just in case I touched anything or, you know, something got on here that would inhibit curing of the clay. It's just that extra layer of protection just in case. This is both of these are sulfur free, you know, but I've taken workshops where people are working with sulfur clay, and I don't know if I've touched their sculpture or their clay or their tools and stuff, so I like to just do that as a precaution. So it also kind of keeps my sculpture nice. And also I like to do that because a lot of the time you'll get some undercuts that you don't really want. I mean, even this still has some that I should probably go back in and do, but I'll just deal with it. See, like in the eye here, like instead of me going in and pushing more clay in there to get rid of that undercut, I would just use the polyacrylic and let it just drip in there and cover that undercut, so we're not casting, you know, a little piece of silicone in there that's going to tear eventually or cause a bubble because it's not going to get in there. So you just want to be wary of all your undercuts and all that. See how this is not an undercut, so it doesn't go under this hair here, so I don't have to pull it out and potentially tear it. So the first thing you want to do is you need to set a good flat surface for your thing to sit on. This is just an old piece of a shelf from something, nice and flat. You want to attach this to your surface. You can hot glue it down. I like to use a really soft clay. So this clay is really soft. It's a really soft plastiline. It says medium, but it can get like cream cheese. It's so soft. So I like to use this because it helps prevent the silicone from getting underneath. You know, if you have hot glue, you risk, you know, even here you can see how it's not perfectly flat. So some of that silicone is going to get under there. It's just going to be annoying. So what I like to do is to first get some of this soft clay, and we're going to run it. And plus this is a little thick too, so I kind of want to build this up so it's not such a thick mold. I don't want the actual medallion that thick. I only want it about that thick. So I'm going to first kind of glue this down with this clay. Alright, so there it is. It's all glued down. That's another nice thing about using clay is that you can reuse it. I can peel this off later after I'm done molding it and shove it back in the bag and use it for next time. Now what I'm actually going to do now, after cleaning this up, first I'm going to build my mold box around it just to see where I need to come to. And what I like to use to do that are Legos. These are great for mold boxes. They're so easy to take down and put up and get the size and shape that you want. They're really great, and of course it's fun, so why not? When you build it up, I do like to stagger them so you don't have any leaks or breakages, because if you just put them straight up, they can just easily break off. So I like to stagger them. Helps with leakage through. Normally in a size like this you're not going to get any leakage. When I did the big mold that was about that big, there's a YouTube video on that, I did get some leakage in that, but you just packing tape the outside of it to prevent that, and it's not a problem. So what I'm going to do is going to go around the edges and create a mold box. You probably want to be here, no less than here and here, because you need an edge to kind of grab things, especially over here where I'm going to actually have to pull this out, since this is considered an undercut here, it's going to be. So this is going to have to, when it comes out of the mold, I'm going to have to pull it outward first and then take it out. So there we go. So we want a box like that. So I have some pieces already almost set to go here, so we'll just put what we need together. So we have our mold box. Now what I'm going to do, this is my preference, I'm just going to build up this clay first to about here where I want the platform to be, so I'm not using, so it'll raise this up a little bit, because I just don't want that thick of a mold, because it's just going to waste silicone. So I'm going to do that, and I will be back. Alright, now we've built up the clay to where we want it. So I have pretty much an even thing all the way around here. So now it's not going to cast any thicker than this. And then even then, I'm probably going to want to shave a little bit off because I don't really want this to be that thick of a medallion. So next what we're going to do is see where our mold box falls. Line it up where you want it. Again, make sure you have enough room around all of it. I'm going to push it into the clay where we want it. Now, what you want to do, just like how you did to the medallion, you want to fill in all this space and gap around here. So we're not going to have any leakage. So it's pretty much the same method that we did with the medallion onto the wood, but it's just around this now. So I'm going to do that and come back. And actually, you'd be surprised about how long this sometimes takes. That's why I'm kind of cutting and coming back now. Because, I mean, just to build up that clay around there probably took me about 45 minutes. So take your time because you really have to get it precise because this will mold any little fine detail that is in there. So just make sure that you have it right. And just know that it will take a bit of time to do. Even though it seems simple, just putting clay down, it's still going to take quite a bit of time. So don't fret, just keep on going and take your time. So we are built up all around so nothing spills out when we pour the silicone in. You also want to be mindful on the inside because even when you press it in, sometimes there might be gaps where the silicone can go in and you're just going to waste silicone basically. And then you'll come back and it'll be like lower than you thought it was and it ended up going all around there and up into the Legos. So make sure this is all sealed in here as well as the outside. You don't have to go crazy in here, just make sure nothing is going to seep anywhere. And now you want to build your mold box up so you have enough space as well, kind of like how you have it around the sides. You want to make sure you have about that much space on the top. So this is probably going to need I would say, I mean, it might be okay, but it's probably going to need one more level to be safe. Because I would have to fill this to the tippy top if you want to make sure that it's good. So we probably want one more level of Legos to have enough mold box for our silicone so it's not so close and tears. All right, and next step is the super seal agent that it comes with. Use this to seal in your sculpture. I mean, we did seal our sculpture, but you still kind of want to seal the clay around it and everything else to make sure everything is good to go. You're also going to need a soft brush to brush it in the crevices and things. I shook this up. And you're going to need at least 2 coats of this. 3 if it's really porous, if you're using like wood or something. So yeah, you shake it up a little and give them a spritz. Oh, you also want really good ventilation. So I'm going to turn this on and it might get a little loud. So you're just going to spritz this over, brush it with the brush, wait 5 minutes, do another layer, and then wait 20 minutes before you get ready to start your silicone pour. So that said, here we go. So just work in any crevices or undercuts. Like his nose is going to be a little difficult to get under, but that's why it's good that we sealed him already. So he should be pretty safe in there. Alright, so we're going to wait 5 minutes and do this again. And then wait 20 minutes before we start mixing and stuff with our silicone. Okay, so these have had 2 coats of the sealer, and now we want to go into the mold release. There was 5 minutes between each layer to dry, and 20 minutes since the last layer now. And now we're going to apply this. This is what's going to help the resin release from the mold and the silicone to release from the clay, etc., etc. Actually, this is the silicone releasing from the clay, obviously, this part. But then when you do go to cast, you would spray this in the mold itself, and then it would help release the resin. So you do basically the same thing. Except, yeah, I think you only really need 1 layer of this. get them in the crevices. Okay, and that should be good to go. Just going to give it a few minutes to dry, probably, I'll say at least 10 to 15. I don't think it says on here how long, but I'm going to give it a little while to dry and go start mixing our silicone. Okay, here's where we're at. We're at the silicone time. You want to make sure you have a respirator, you know, one of those big respirator things. Good ventilation, all that. Any chemical reaction sort of stuff you really don't want to breathe in. So these you have to stir well before using, which is usually a pretty big pain in the butt, but you don't know how long they've been sitting on the shelves. Oh no! They sent me old silicone. Darn it. Alright, change of plans. I ran out and found an epoxy and casting shop place not too far away, and I was able to get some old Max 30 from them. They were awesome. I'm probably going to use them more often now because they're a little closer than the other place I found a while ago. And they're just seemed quite better. So picked up this stuff. It is different than the other one though. It's not an equal 1-to-1 ratio, but I do like this better. It's a stronger silicone. It won't tear as easily, and I'll probably get more castings out of it because of that. The only thing is that, you know, it doesn't have equal parts, so it's 10 to 100. So I guess whatever you take of this, you divide that by 10, and that's what you get out of that. You do need a scale for this. I will have another tutorial on the Umu. When the replacement gets here, I guess I'm going to have to sculpt something else really quickly and be able to show you guys, because I don't want that to get old now and be useless. So this is what we're going to work with for these, and let's get started. I have to actually get a crappier sweatshirt on and pants because I don't want to ruin my clothes, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I went and made all my calculations for about the amount that I'm going to need. I probably need almost this whole thing anyway once I have the other part of the 2-part mold ready, but most of this is going to probably get used. So what I'm going to do first is measure out part A. Smooth On has a calculator on their website, thankfully, otherwise I don't know how I would do this. And you know, I basically got the measurements of my mold and then basically subtract the measurements of the sculpture out of that. So it's pretty averaging. I'm trying to like overestimate to make sure I have enough stuff to pour than, you know, not having enough. Which gives you a total weight in grams. I added the two together since I'm going to be pouring these both at the same time. It gives you the total number of grams. And then you use another calculator to tell you how many grams of part A and how many of part B. So we're looking at 614.15 grams of part A and 61.42 grams of part B. All right, so I've got my scale here. How do we turn this on? Hello. There we go. Okay, so it's set to grams. This is actually a very inexpensive scale I found on Amazon. I'll post a link in the description. I'll post as many links as possible for you to get the stuff that I'm using in these videos. Let's see. So we want to zero that out. So yeah, I haven't used this for mold making yet. I've only used it for soap, and the soap went well, so I guess it's accurate. So yeah, here we go. We're going to do part 1, which I believe you have to stir thoroughly before you do anything anyway, so yeah. That's probably going to go off in the meantime anyway. I did this, don't worry, I was checking it to make sure this was not bad like the last one. And I should probably put a garbage pail over here. Like I said before, we had a disaster ensue. You want a respirator. You also want gloves. You don't want to be touching the stuff, all that sort of jazz, but also do not use latex gloves. Latex will inhibit the cure. So, no latex. And yeah, let's just get started here. This has to be mixed thoroughly first. I guess I will use this random stick I have from something, that a poster maybe, but I usually use this to mix my umu. Do I have something better? I'm just afraid it's gonna like snap off. Yeah, this would probably be better. Okay, we'll use a spoon to mix this part first, just to kind of make sure it's, well, the whatever is well distributed, I guess. See, look, that's what I didn't want to happen. Ah, this might help. You want to make sure you have like your paper towels and stuff nearby, because this stuff can get kind of messy, and you don't want to be running around your studio or wherever trying to find what you need when you're covered in goo. Alright, that worked way better. I'd say that's probably good enough, right? Alright, so our first part of measuring, we want, what did I say? Where's my paper? 675.57. Yeah, good luck with that. Alright. So let's put this back on. Oops. Not shut it off like a dummy. Okay. Okay, those grams we're set to. We want to zero that out. And pour some in. So let's not use this. Let's see how easy this is going to be. Hopefully this cup's big enough. Whoa! Oh, 675. Okay, 675. Seriously? That's almost 500 right there. Oh, shoot. I'm gonna need a bigger something. I'll be back. Alright, so I found this. It's a good thing I found this because I was almost ready to use one of my good Tupperwares and get rid of those. So this was a little Dollar Tree thing that I was keeping some art supplies in. Hopefully nothing will cause a problem. Then I found this empty thing, which I'll use this one to pour. Because you want to double mix it to make sure you're mixing everything properly. So this is a bummer. I thought I was going to be able to use this cup, but I guess not. So let's try this again. Go back on. Grams. Just double check. Grams. See, now I thought these did decimal grams. I guess not. So I don't know how I'm going to measure what the paper says. Which is where, at this point... Okay, found it. It's actually 614, not 675. I was looking at the total. Good thing we didn't keep going there, because I would have measured that wrong. So 614.15, but now I just realized this doesn't do point. So, what now? I guess I'll just round this. I don't know. I guess we'll go 614 and 62? I don't know. I don't know how sensitive this is, so... I guess we'll see if it works. I'm not having high hopes. Let's zero this out. Try this again. Okay, we went a little over. So I guess we take some out. Okay, so 614, part A, now 6-1, and about a half of part 2, part B. Let me change my gloves here so I don't contaminate this stuff. And so this gets 61.42, so we'll go a little over 61, I guess. Alright, we're still in 61. Oh, just went to 62. We'll probably lose some. I don't know. I think we're just going to leave it alone and hope for the best. Hopefully it can't be that exact. And it'll still cure. So let's put this stuff away. Alright, here comes the mixin'. Mask on. Now we're gonna pour it in here. Hopefully you can hear me. We're gonna pour it in here and double mix it. So now it's gonna get it all away from the sides and stuff to make sure we have a really good mix. And then I'm actually gonna also pour it out of here. So hopefully that'll work well enough. So, what I like to do now is, like I said, let it sit for a while, but first I'm going to bang it on the table a little bit and work some of those bubbles out. Alright, so I banged that on the table and on the floor for a little bit and let the bubbles work themselves up for a few minutes. Because I don't have a degassing thingy, so it's going to have to be as good as it's going to get. And we're going to also take some precautions here to eliminate the bubbles. I cut a small slit out of where I'm going to pour, almost like a little smiley face. I did this last time and it worked really well, so we're going to try this again. So I'm going to start on the lowest point of the mold, which is, it's probably going to be on this, probably over here, I don't know. Probably there, and let it work its way up. But I'm going to start down there and I'm going to stand up so the stream is really, really thin and pouring from a really high height. That way, like, the bubbles will work themselves out before they get to it. And so yeah, here goes nothing. Let's give this a go. Okay, so here's what we got. We got the full mold, filled it to the top, and there was quite a bit in here. Still plenty left. Still got quite a good chunk left if you needed the extra. So I'm glad that, you know, it measured up pretty well. Probably could have cast another little tiny little medallion or something, but other than that, it's better than not having enough. So these guys are all full to the top now. So what I'm going to do is pretty much the same thing I did to the, it's ready now. Same thing I did to the bucket that had the silicone in. I'm just going to bang it a few times. Let some of those air bubbles, if there are any in there, work away from the sculpture. Oops. Now we wait, and we pray, and we hope that this sets up. Because this didn't go as 100% smoothly as I wanted it to. So let's hope that the ratios are right, my measuring was right, my numbers are right, and this sets up and we don't have two ruined sculptures. Yeah. So, I guess we'll be back in 24 hours. Okay, moment of truth. Yes! Yes! Now let's get these demolded. Okay, here we are. It's been 24 hours, and it has cured. Seemingly. Hopefully. Hopefully it's cured around the clay as well. So now, we're going to take the Legos off and see what we got. I don't like how some of it still feels sticky. I guess first I'll start taking off this clay. Ouch. Okay, so now that we've taken off all the Legos around it, we're gonna demold our piece and hopefully it's cured around all of the clay. So you want to carefully be wary. So now remember that nose came over on this side, so that's where we're gonna have to take out last and kind of pull it away from the sculpt. Because it's gonna be embedded in there. Huh. And look at that. We've got our mold. Wow. That looks really nice. A little bubble in the main, but that's the only real, maybe a little bit over there, but not too shabby. Let's see if you could see that. There you go. Okay, so here we have our mold, and now we're going to measure and cast one. Before you really want to start casting your really good pieces, you want to clean that out, but in order to avoid putting water in there, because water will react with the resin and cause a lot of bubbling, I just like to do a quick little like waste cast. Just a thin layer of resin, let it cure, and take it out, and it usually picks out any extra clay or pieces or hair or whatever that's in your mold, and then just throw that away. Sometimes you may not even have anything and it's fine and you get a casting out of it. So I just like to do that. It might be a little bit wasteful, but it's easy. So here is how we measure and everything. You want to make sure these are thoroughly mixed. I had shaken these already. The only downside to a lot of this is that you get a lot of bubbles when you shake. So, I don't know. I like to fix those in post anyway, and I'll show you how to do that. Make sure it's warm when you're working. It'll help things cure better. So, first, we take part A. I also like to have some extra molds on the side, like ready to go in case I mix too much and then I need to pour it somewhere. Instead of wasting it, it goes into another mold and I'll get something else out of it later. But if you don't have extra molds, try and eyeball this as best as you can. So I'd like to pour one first. So I like to use these cups. They have lines on them. It's easy to measure. Make sure you're on a flat surface. So you pour A. Close that good. Now pour B the exact same amount. One, two, three. Perfect. Close that up. Now make sure you have your mask on or respirator on, because when you mix these things there's fumes and you don't want to really be breathing those in. So I have a little mini dehumidifier going over here in the corner. I highly recommend a dehumidifier for your studio. It helps things dry really fast. This will help pull any moisture out of the resin, so it'll get a lot of bubbles out of there and stuff like that. This is the one I used to have. It just used to be a little desktop one. Did I show you already? Here? This little desktop one. It's fairly cheap. It's a good investment. Like 20 to 40 tops. I used to have this one, and then I had gotten a really, really big 5-gallon one that literally sucks everything out of the air in this thing, and it's like the best purchase I've ever made. So I highly recommend one of these things. I'm running both right now. It's apparently only like 40% humidity in here. I like to keep it under 50. But I still like to have this going right near my project, because, you know, it just gives that little extra oomph of stuff. And it's taking a little bit of water out of the air here. The other one's not even on because it says it's 45. So this one just runs, and I like to use it. Anyway. So what I like to do first is mix each one individually and then pour them together and mix them. It just gives an extra little kind of boost to it, I think. So we stir one part. Stir the other part. Now I don't think it matters which one you pour into the other one. It might, but I haven't found any issue with anything. So I pour one into the other. And we mix. Now this is going to get really hot. And you only have about 2 to 3 minutes to work with this. So you want to mix it well in those 2 to 3 minutes. And be careful because it will get hot. Because the chemical reaction is starting to take place. Whoops, a little spillage there. You gotta mix it really, really well. And once this really starts getting hot, then you know it's gonna start setting up soon. So we wanna then pour that. And we just pour it on in. So that, now I like to take a toothpick, and if you see any bubbles on the surface, get rid of those, because that's going to be a hole in your sculpture then. So you just pick all those little holes, all those little bubbles out. Any undercuts you want to rub out. It's usually in the ends of hair tassels and things like that. Little divots. But again, you have to be quick. It's going to start thickening and then it's going to set right up. So get those important areas. And I think that should be good. In here. Alright, and now it's going to probably start setting really quick. I'll let you watch so you don't miss it. There it goes. That is real time. And it's a little cooler in here than it should be because it's winter and such. Usually that can even set up even faster than that. So the warmer it is, the faster that's going to set. I have had times where I have been in the middle of pouring it and it's set up and I had a cup just hanging in midair with the resin. So you just got to play around with it and get used to it and see how much time you have when you're working with it. Now we're going to let that sit probably about 10 to 15 minutes before you can debolt it. It'll probably still be warm and a little malleable, so you want to just let it sit aside and let it cure up completely. But yeah, it only takes probably about 15 minutes before you can take that out and start the next one. That's at least with the smooth cast resin. So there you have it. And I'll pull this out and show you what we get. Alright, so this should be cured now. Now we're just going to peel away the sides. And then remember that his nose is actually in this, so we're going to take out this side first. Kind of pull away the silicone and just kind of pull them out. Like that. And yeah, there you have it. There's your medallion. There's your copy of your original sculpture in resin. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please like, comment, subscribe, share. It really helps me to keep making these videos for you guys. If you like them, please do those things. And this guy will be available soon from me to purchase. And yeah, so thanks again for watching. I will see you guys next time.